Walk into any luxury boutique in the world and you will not find one. The Hermes Birkin. No price tag, no display, no purchase, no matter how much you offer. It looks like the pinnacle of French craftsmanship. But the structure behind that bag is far simpler than it appears because the scarcity is the product and the waitlist is the machine. Chapter 1. The Accidental Icon. The Birkin was not born in a marketing meeting. It was born in 1984 on a flight from Paris to London. Jean-Louis Dumas, the CEO of Hermes, found himself seated next to Jane Birkin, the actress and singer, famous in France for her work with Serge Gainsbourg and in Britain for a career that made her one of the most recognized cultural figures of her generation. She was complaining that she could not find a weekend bag she actually liked. Every bag on the market was either too small, too structured, or too precious to be functional. She needed something real. So Dumas sketched a design on a paper air sickness bag and promised to make her one. That bag, named after the actress who never asked for it, would become the most valuable handbag on earth. But here is what the story hides. Jane Birkin herself would later ask Hermes to remove her name from the bag, citing concerns about the welfare of the animals whose skins were used in the bag's production. She eventually restored the arrangement after receiving assurances from the house. The woman whose name Hermes built an empire upon had to be won back. To understand how the Birkin became what it is, we have to go back to the business of scarcity. If this is the kind of story you want more of, the hidden architecture behind the world's most powerful brands, subscribe right now. We do this every week. Now let's keep going. Chapter 2. The System That Created Demand. Every Birkin takes between 15 and 40 hours to make, handcrafted by a single artisan start to finish. One person, one bag, no assembly line, no delegation of stages to different workers. The entire object, the stitching, the hardware fitting, the edge finishing, is the work of a single pair of hands. Hermes deliberately refuses to industrialize. This is a choice, not a constraint. The company has the capital and the infrastructure to automate. It has chosen not to because the hand finishing is not just an aesthetic decision. It is a commercial one. The evidence of human labor embedded in every bag is part of what the customer is paying for and part of what justifies the price. Analysts estimate the company makes somewhere between 12,000 and 70,000 Birkins a year, and even Hermes will not tell you the real number. That silence is the point. There is no official production figure because a number would mean a ceiling, and a ceiling could be measured. The moment the Birkin's production becomes quantifiable, it becomes manageable. Manageable becomes ordinary. Ordinary is the thing the Birkin cannot ever become. Meanwhile, the wait lists stretch for years. A woman walks into a boutique, is told the Birkin is unavailable, and is invited to build a relationship with the house. Buy the scarf, buy the perfume, buy the twilly. Spend enough across enough categories across enough time, and perhaps one day you will be offered the bag. The customer is not buying a handbag. She is auditioning. This is the system's elegance. Every purchase the customer makes while working toward the Birkin generates revenue for Hermes at full margin. The bag is the prize at the end of a spending journey that the house has designed. The waiting itself is commercially productive. Chapter 3. The Mechanism of Control. And here is the mechanism that made it inevitable. Hermes could make more Birkins. It chooses not to. The bag is not scarce because demand exceeds supply. It is scarce because scarcity is the strategy. And the strategy works at a scale that no other luxury brand has replicated. On the resale market, Hermes holds its value better than any luxury brand on earth. An average value retention of 138%, the highest in the industry. Some Birkins resell at 183% above retail. Over a decade, the bag appreciated 92%. During the same period, the S&P 500 returned approximately 182%. A diversified index fund outperformed the Birkin as a pure financial investment. But the Birkin did something the index fund could not do. It sat on a shelf and signaled something about the person who put it there. A handbag treated like an asset. A luxury good that doubles as an investment thesis. Which means the waitlist is not protecting craftsmanship. It is engineering a return. For the resale market, for the secondary buyer, and ultimately for Hermes, whose brand value compounds every time a Birkin trades at a premium above retail. The scarcity mechanism reinforces itself. High resale prices confirm the bag's value. Confirmed value justifies the waitlist. The waitlist justifies the purchase of the scarf, the perfume, the twilly. The house wins at every stage. Chapter 4. The War for Control. But the system was nearly taken over. By 2010, Hermes had become the crown jewel no one could buy. Bernard Arnault, the CEO of LVMH, the conglomerate that had already assembled Louis Vuitton, Dior, Givenchy, Bulgari, and dozens of other brands into the most powerful luxury empire on earth, decided he wanted Hermes. He did not announce it. He did not make an offer. He used complex equity swaps, derivative instruments that allow a buyer to accumulate economic exposure to a company's shares without triggering the disclosure requirements that a direct acquisition would, to quietly amass a position worth around $7.5 billion, roughly 23% of the company. Hermes had no defense prepared. The family that had controlled the house for 6 generations, the Hermes family, whose name was still on the door and whose aesthetic sensibility still shaped the product, faced the prospect of losing their company to the man who had industrialized luxury everywhere else. He touched it. So they built a fortress. They created a family holding structure that pooled and locked the shares held by the extended Hermes family, making a majority takeover mathematically impossible regardless of what Arnault purchased in the open market. The AMF, France's financial markets regulator, investigated the equity swap maneuver and fined LVMH. Arnault's stake was eventually distributed to shareholders, and he withdrew. The family kept its house, but the lesson stuck. The most valuable brand in luxury had almost been swallowed by the machine that was already consuming everything else, my stage. Chapter 5. The Price of the Dream. Today, Hermes is the most valuable luxury company in the world by market capitalization, worth more than LVMH, more than Richemont, more than any competitor. And the Birkin is the engine. But the machine runs on a contradiction. The bag costs roughly $1,000 to make. It sells for tens of thousands. The gap is not leather. It is not craftsmanship, which is genuine but not worth the premium on its own. The gap is belief. A belief that the bag confers status. A belief that ownership of it communicates something about the owner that other purchases cannot. A belief that is sustained, carefully and deliberately, by making the bag almost impossible to obtain. And the belief requires the waitlist to stay. The scarcity must remain visible, which is why the system punishes any attempt to make the bag ordinary. The moment a Birkin becomes easy to buy, it becomes worthless. The brand's entire value rests on one fragile idea, that you cannot have it. Chapter 6. The Architecture of Desire. Because the most powerful brands do not sell you products. They sell you the version of yourself you want to become, and the version that owns a Birkin is one you cannot simply buy. So here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. If you could afford the waitlist, would you? Or is the whole thing just an expensive illusion? If you enjoy uncovering the hidden stories behind everyday industries, like and subscribe for more documentaries like this. And next, watch how one man built an empire on a brand that doesn't even sell clothes. Hermes is not a leather goods company. It is a scarcity machine that converts desire into billions. The waitlist is not a list.